So given that we have learned about creating a table, can we modify or alter an existing table, right? To alter an existing table, there are three types of operations that we can perform, right? We can either add a new column, we can modify an existing column that we have, right? Or we can add a new constraint, or we can modify the data type that we have as long as it's possible, or we can drop or delete some columns, right? So let's take the example of the language table that we have been looking at, right? So look at the language table that we created above, right? So if you look at the language table, it has two columns, ID, which is an int and primary, and we have a lang variable, right? Lang column, sorry, not variable, lang column, which is varchar and not null. This table is called language. Now I can say alter table language. So I'm modifying this table, right? So what does this table contain? This table now contains ID and lang. So I'm saying modify this table language. So this table is my language table, right? This table is my language table. Add a new column called country. So it will add a new column called country, right? With this data type. Of course, I can also add constraints. Okay, here what I'm just doing here is I'm adding a new column called country to this existing table, right? This is so alter table with add helps you add new columns to your database or new constraints, right? Of course, when you're adding a column, you can also add the constraint to it in addition to the data type, just like the way we have primary, not null, check, default, all of these, right? Similarly, now if I want to modify this table, see initially when I added this column called country, this country basically implies in which country this movie was made, or in which country was this movie primarily released, right? Is this movie made in Hollywood, let's say in the US, or is it made in Britain, or is it made in Bollywood in India, or is it made in Tollywood, whatever, how many ever woods are there in the world, right? So if I want to modify this, instead of 50 character length strings as the country name, if I want to increase it, I can simply do it using modify. So all that I'm doing here is I'm doing the same thing, alter table, the language table with modify. By modify, I'm saying take this country column that already exists, now modify it by changing the length of this from 50, same data type. I'm just changing the length here. I can also add or remove constraints here, right? So with alter, you can either add, modify. There's something called as drop. Okay, so when you say alter table language, drop country, the whole column will be removed. So we are adding a column here, modifying the column's data type here, and here we are removing the whole column itself. Right? So alter is a very, very simple command which enables us to add, modify, or drop columns in a database. Right? Very, very simple, nothing very fancy here.